Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast, episode 125. Altai here with
Omer, as usual. And we have an interesting podcast this week. Blizzcon obviously happened this last week. There was a big NCSoft media event that happened last week. So there's a lot of big MMO news to talk about this week. A lot of MMORPG specific. We usually talk about MOBAs and other stuff too, but we got a lot of actual MMORPG stuff this week. So Altai, I'll let you take it off with the weekly raid.
Sure, our weekly raid is actually about BlizzCon. What was your favorite announcement at BlizzCon 2017? And I did watch this live with a few friends on our Discord, and we had a pretty good time. We watched the opening ceremonies where all the big, each game went one by one, revealed some of the big ones. So what was? I guess I'll give a rundown. There was new information released about Hearthstone, Starcraft 2, Heroes of the Storm, World of Warcraft. But what's interesting to me? What game wasn't really loved? And that was Diablo. Diablo didn't get much love this time.
Did they get any love, actually? I don't remember hearing anything about Diablo.
No, they basically were AWOL from the convention.
Which is odd because, you'd think they at least have something about Diablo. You said it's one of the best-selling PC games in the world. And I was making fun of it before for being not so big, but apparently it's still one of the best-selling games overall.
Oh, yeah. It's still probably... if we could get numbers for it, I bet it'd be a huge concurrent player base. You'd be surprised. All right, what was your big announcement that you liked? I know I probably share it, but let's hear it.
We obviously share the same thing. We've been talking about this for over a year with the drama with Nostalrius and Elysium, and it's actually happening. There's going to be an official World of Warcraft Classic server, which I think we had a panel with Sean and Matt as well at one point, and Shrilly, I think we've all decided it was probably never going to actually happen. I think I was the only one in the panel that said it's going to happen purely because it's good business. And I think I had an argument with Matt, or I think maybe you all time, when we talked about, like the numbers on Elysium, the numbers on Nostalrius, about how many people actually want a vanilla server and that people would actually pay for it. And we're going to see the results of that when that actually happens. But the announcement came at BlizzCon. There's going to be an actual classic server, and I think it's going to do phenomenal. In fact, I am so confident that I think that the vanilla server, when it launches for World of Warcraft, it's going to have more players, more activity than any other realm in the game. It will be the most popular server in World of Warcraft.
Definitely. I think that's without a doubt. What I'm interested in is how closely they're going to mimic not just the gameplay, like the stats or whatever, the raids, but the infrastructure. So what I mean by that is, are they going to use the old graphics? Probably not, right? They're probably going to use a new engine, the current engine, but just with...
You're probably right.
Yeah, but, and then again, with the server technology, are they going to allow, are they going to cap the number of people per server the same as it was in 2004? Right? Or is today's technology going to allow one big server, and it's going to be like the classic server, whether it's 1,000 people online or 10,000? That's the classic server. Because remember, Elysium and Nostalrius, they had servers with over 10 grand people concurrently logged in, and that's impossible on the actual old WoW because the servers just weren't strong enough. So again,
I don't think we're gonna have the same old graphics. Stuff like that and stuff with the server capacities and stuff. I don't think they're gonna go for this authentic experience of trying to put as many silly limitations in place. The server limitation was really just the technology limitation. That wasn't something that added to the experience. I think one bigger server would only make the experience better. The graphics, though, however, I know people are asking for it, and they can relive that nostalgic experience. The graphics, I think, is up in the air, but there's no way they're going to artificially limit the number of people that can log into the server at once. That seems, kind of extreme.
I hope so. And for those people out there who want the old graphics, guys, come on, that's not even a quality of life teleporting in game thing. It's a quality of life in the actual life, struggling with an old UI or an old the old shitty graphics. There's no point to that. I get it. Don't change the gameplay. Make potion farming before raids, that was legit. It took a lot of time. It was annoying, but I think it's key to the game, right? But the graphics, let us have good graphics. That's not an issue.
Realizer TV made a point in chat, and I've heard this point actually made quite a few times by quite a few people about people that are skeptical about vanilla WoW's popularity or if it can actually succeed. People saying it'll be the most popular server for 2 months, and then everyone will be level 30, and they'll all quit and they'll join the other servers or just quit the game all over again. And that's why it's not going to launch until after the next expansion pack. And I've heard this argument before, but I ain't buying it. I am confident that the vanilla server will be the most popular server 1 year after release. Maybe even 2 years after the release, but I'm going to say 1 year after launch, it will be the most popular realm at that point. And I do think a lot of people will join and they'll quit very quickly after they get that live experience. But I think there's a big demand for people that want that nostalgic experience, and you really can't undersell nostalgia. Nostalgia is a hell of a thing. Look at RuneScape.
Yeah, I was going to say,
RuneScape is unbelievable.
Interjection there. You have a good point with your point that's going to stay popular only because that's what happened with RuneScape. The old school RuneScape has more people online than current RuneScape. Double about.
Not just that. I hate bringing that as the only example because that's not fair to say one example. The EverQuest 1 progression servers, right? In fact, EverQuest 1 you can play free to play. However, if you want to play on the progression servers, which start at old school EverQuest, you have to pay monthly to play. There's a subscription you have to sign up to play that. And guess what? Those servers are packed.
Yep.
They're the busiest servers in the game, despite the fact they require a subscription. When base EverQuest doesn't have a subscription anymore, in EverQuest, people are paying to get that vanilla experience, that progression experience. I don't think this is a look. There are a lot of nostalgic people out there that do want that experience, and even if you don't want that experience, and I will personally resub to play, and I don't think I'm going to play it too long because I play a lot of vanilla WoW already. I think I got it out of my system. I didn't really play Nostalrius, but I'm going to resubscribe to the official server and play for a while. And I might be one of the guys that does quit after 30 days, or when I get to level 30, 40 or something, I might quit. But I'm confident that people are going to stay, only because look how many people are playing on private servers today. And even though that's not a fair comparison, because a lot of those people are playing for free and they may not be willing to pay, I think it's going to blow people's minds how popular the server gets. And a year after launch, 2 years after launch, not just right away, because I agree with you. You can't look at the 1 week numbers, the first 2 month numbers. Those are all bullshit. People will come and leave.
Yeah, and I know I've made this point before, guys, but I just think it's so funny that we have to go back to 2004 to get, in a lot of ways. Wouldn't you say World of Warcraft vanilla was more ambitious even in 2017 than what the new expansion they announced, which we'll get to, then the new expansions for whatever, like for Final Fantasy 14, the new raid there with 16 players. Isn't it funny that a game from 2004 is actually more ambitious? We got a persistent world. We got 40-man raids. You have to do this huge quest line to even enter. It's everything you want from a new patch of Final Fantasy adding a new dungeon, right? Is there in 2004 in WoW? Isn't that crazy?
I think it's unbelievable. Again, WoW compared to new launches today, you'd think when we talk about MMORPGs, a seamless persistent world wouldn't be like this like revolutionary thing. But so many games launch without them, which is fine. I mean, we've gone to a very instance model with whether it's Guild Wars, whether it's Vindictus, games like this. So the fact that it's a persistent world, I think, is a nice plus. I do like persistent worlds. And 40-man raids, we haven't had that. Like, I'm trying to think, does any other modern MMORPG have 40-man raids?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's actually gotten so bad. Like even WoW itself, with new expansions, I think 20 was the max, and then in Final Fantasy it's 16. So it's just
you have 24-man. You have 24-man but they're not like real raids. They're easy as fuck.
Sure, but even then it's like half what vanilla was.
And those quest chains too. Like there's so many epic things you can do in World of Warcraft, and I think this kind of speaks back for its time. 2004 was a whole different era. These games companies were a lot of people working on these games too weren't really thinking about about trying to attract as many people as possible. They were worried about making a good game that they were interested in, because again, gaming was more niche back then than it is today. Gaming is very universal today, and companies have to design around profits and trying to get as many people as possible to make as much money as possible. Back then it was niche, and they figured that in order to get players, people that were playing online MMORPGs, they weren't casual players. They were hardcore players. Like them. Like the guys working on the game were hardcore as well. They love the games. They love the MMOs, which is why they're working at Blizzard to make MMOs. They made games that they would love, which is why I think vanilla WoW has a special place in a lot of our hearts who played this game growing up. It was a whole different world.
That's actually a really good point. That I've heard interviews of the original team for WoW, and at the time they were all Blizzard employees, and they were playing EverQuest together, and they loved EverQuest. It was a hardcore game. And they said, look, we want to make a game like EverQuest, a game we play. Like we want to make a game that we would play for us. Now, how many people who work at Candy Crush, or this mobile Lineage 2 Revolution, right? The mobile game. How many people working on that game? I'm sure these are very talented, intelligent, capable, developers, programmers, people. But how many of them are making this game for themselves? I'd say almost none.
100% almost.
They're going to work.
Yeah,
there's going to work. They're working 8 hours on this garbage game. They know it was garbage. It's not for them. And then going home and playing a different game, like on the PC probably or something, right? Something more like that we play. So it's just sad that the best talent is actually working on the lowest effort game, and then in a lot of ways, because of Kickstarter, the least talent is working on the most complicated game, MMORPGs. So you have the people with the least experience working on the most complicated game, and you got the most experienced developers, most well paid, working on the shittiest games, the mobile games. It's just a weird world of gaming that we're in right now.
I do think though, give it like 10 years. I think 5, 10 years, mobile games will get a lot better because people that make mobile games in 5, 10 years, people that grew up playing mostly mobile games.
Yes.
You know, maybe it'll be different then. But I agree with you today. It's a very wacky world, and that's why I think Vanilla WoW had this very special place in our hearts. But we have to talk about this. You think you do, but you don't. They actually fully backpedaled on that, which is absurd. So go ahead.
I'll play that real quick, just once again. So this is, I think, last BlizzCon. This was
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
You don't want to do that.
And then the rest of this video just shows how popular this server. There's a private server, Australis, after launch, and it just, Ironforge is just packed. So that made Blizzard look like a bunch of dummies. And obviously they did backpedal, and they realized how stupid of a statement they made there, and they're giving us what we want.
And it's purely the reason I was optimistic about vanilla private servers. I'd say more so than other people were because from a purely financial angle, like there's no reason not to monetize this. Like there's a demand out there, and clearly I think it's a sizable demand based on all the private servers. And I don't think the official server will capture all those players because a lot of people don't want to pay money for vanilla WoW. Like a lot of people are cheap and they want to play on private servers for free. But another argument to be made is there are a lot of people that never played on private servers for vanilla WoW. Like, let's think about it. Like, even though we see tens of thousands of concurrent players playing vanilla WoW right now on various private servers, people don't know how to get to private servers. Your average person who played vanilla WoW back in the days, people just don't know how to get there, or they don't care enough to learn how to play on private servers.
Yep.
So this announcement will actually capture a lot more people than we think. Like, I would say the people that play on vanilla WoW private servers were such a small minority of the people that do want the vanilla experience. People just don't know how to get there.
That's I actually never thought, I didn't think of that until now, but until you said it. But you're so right. Like, one claim is that, well, there's like a very vocal, like 10,000 people that want to play vanilla, right? But I think it's opposite. I think there are so many players who enjoyed WoW, then they got, the game changed, so they left. And, they have lives. They're not like, super elite hackers, so they can't download these files and then like edit these things and get on these private servers. So and those guys just fell off. And I think for every one guy that's currently playing on a private server for vanilla WoW, there's at least 10 who want to play vanilla, who enjoyed vanilla, but just don't know what private servers are.
I realize I think it's fair to be skeptical as well, but I think it's at this point the fact that they revealed this vanilla WoW trailer at BlizzCon, if anything, I mean, I don't think it's to build hype for the next expansion for WoW, because honestly, like, it's complete opposite for me. Like, honestly, this announcement kind of stole the stage for me at BlizzCon, and it totally stole the stage for me with the new Battle for Azeroth expansion too, which is still happening. It's gonna be a real thing. But this is such a, like, I don't know. I thought it was quite a bombshell. Like, I didn't see it coming, so which is why it became like this such big news in my mind. And when I first heard this, I was like, no fucking way. Like, after all the shit they said, they're actually doing it. So I don't think it's just a ploy to drum up hype for Battle of Azeroth, because I don't think the players between vanilla WoW and Battle for Azeroth, current WoW, they really overlap a lot. I think the current WoW is still, still a great game. Honestly, one of the best MMORPGs out there. Even though we make fun of the difficulty curve, they're trying to cater to a much bigger audience. They still have like some difficult content with mythic raids and stuff, but I think they don't overlap too much. So I don't think it's just a ploy to get hype or anything like that.
All right, well, you mentioned the new expansion. I think we should talk about that a little too, right? Yeah. Battle for Azeroth. There's also a cinematic for that. Anything you want to say on that? Besides, they're going to raise the level cap again, 120. Isn't that exciting?
That's usually the big bit of news. Honestly, like, I feel like my rule of thumb for an update, like whether it's free to play, whether it's buy to play or subscription based, like a big update includes a level cap increase. Like some games that will say like, oh, we're launching expansion, like it's coming out next week, but the expansion like adds like 3 new zones. Like that's it, right? That's not a fucking expansion. That's like an update. That's like a patch. That's not an expansion. For me, the rule of thumb is if you increase the level cap, all right, now we're talking, because now you have higher level to get to, more skills, more monsters to meet the higher level cap, new zones for those higher level caps. That's a real expansion. So it's obviously gonna add a shit ton to the game. There's a lot more playable races being added.
Yeah,
I think it was like 6 or more actually new playable races. So which is pretty intense. I mean, and races are kind of like, I feel like it's kind of a silly way to add content. Like if they add a new class, I find that exciting. I don't find new races exciting, but because they're adding so many new races, it's more exciting than before. Because I know when like Warlords of Draenor and stuff, like what was it? When they add the Draenei people, and they added like there's usually 1 or 2 like, new races.
Panda people.
who cares? Like, I really don't care about the raises. It changes so little about the game. Like, it almost adds nothing. It's almost like a skin. It's like a cosmetic. When you add a new class, it's like, holy shit, there's new gameplay here. It's exciting. So, but they add so many more raises that's kind of cool, and the higher level cap is kind of neat.
You know,
and they're adding these weird persistent cross-realm groups too, which again, I think you wrote in the article that it's this weird patchwork solution to like not having a mega server.
It's so weird. Like, there's so much stuff in WoW now that's almost like a merger server. Like, you can queue with people, you know, in clusters of multiple servers. Even in the open world, sometimes, like when you zone in, you're like clustered with people from different servers, like in a certain group of servers. You know what they should do? Why don't they just do this? Ready? They should just merge servers. I don't get why they're doing everything they can to avoid this. And communities, which is a new feature coming in this expansion, is just another weird like non-merger merger where again there's persistent cross-realm, like basically chat groups. Like I don't know, like what's the point of this? Like just merge the servers. And I want to show the list of servers.
Do you know what those communities are? Persistent cross-realm player groups discuss strategies and make new friends. They're copying link shells in Final Fantasy 14.
I don't know. Okay, explain that to me. I have no idea what that means.
Okay, a link shell in Final Fantasy 14 is basically just like you know, like there's chat channel for like /shout, /yell, /say, right, in general chat. And a link shell is basically a guild that's not a guild. So you can create a link shell called Bakas and invite anyone to that link shell. And it's basically this clan with not being a clan. And you can invite anyone across servers, I believe, and you can just talk in there. It's a different like chat menu.
The chat room, basically.
Yeah, it's basically a chat room that overlays all your regular chat room.
Okay.
So like you can type, you want to talk to this link shell, you want to say something to them, you can talk different link shells. It's different. You could be like 8 different link shells at once across servers and stuff. It's basically just a chat room. But like it's such a nice feature actually. People create all sorts of like link shells. Like I'm in a Lalafell only link shell in Final Fantasy 14. So like people create these fun chat rooms, and they're just obviously copying that, and they should actually. There's no reason not to. It's a social element that only adds to the game.
Yeah, and instead of doing all this weird stuff, look. So this is a list of all the servers that are currently in World of Warcraft. And once again, a lot of these are kind of like semi-merged into clusters. But even still, look at this. There's so many of them. There are literally hundreds, and this is only in Americas. Look how many there are. Los Angeles, America. Look how many servers there are. That's insane. There's no point for this. It's so, and also a lot of these are empty. Like they suffer from any old MMORPG has this problem where if you don't know which of the 10% of servers to click on, you're just basically gonna play solo until you start queuing and stuff.
And never play on recommended servers. It's always a trap. A recommended server in an MMORPG is an empty server that they want you to fill up. But that's always a trap. You always ignore that, and you find the server that's busy or high population, and you join those servers, and you get a better experience for yourself. But again, like you said, a lot of this is already kind of merged together in a weird way. But do you know what's weird that's not actually merged together? I feel like auction houses are like usually server specific, and it's the same way in Final Fantasy 14.
That makes sense, though. Everything would plummet because then all the botters would play on the empty servers, right? And they would farm all the good spots, and then so there'd be so much farmed stuff by bots dumping into the big server auction houses every day.
But there are bots. Those bots are on the big servers too.
Yeah,
there's no restrictions.
But isn't there like a limit to how much they can farm? Like once a week, or like an open world is one spawn per like minute, whatever it is. Like
come on.
There's like there's like farm spots and there's only like one or two per.
They're not worried about always the most efficient farming. They can just farm in the mid-core spots too. I don't know. I personally really would like a cross-server market board or auction house in any game, honestly, because there's also a real problem in a lot of the smaller populated servers. Like certain items cost so much money because like there's less crafters on that server. I think a big problem with Final Fantasy 14 is the empty servers. People complain that like, oh, this server, raid food is what you need to eat food before you raid to get better stats. It costs like 40,000 on that server, and on my server it costs like 2,000 for the same thing. There's only one guy that can craft it because nobody plays in that fucking server, right? And like it creates a shit experience for everyone on that server, except that one guy crafting.
Okay, I agree, but ideally we just have one server per game per region, right? And that way everyone has the whole economy served. But I think if the economy is fractured, and like the thing that's shared is the auction house, where players can't interact with each other, but the auction house is still shared. I think
they can.
Oh, how?
But with the cross server raid finders and group finders.
But what about like the open world? Like
the open world you can't.
I guess it depends. I guess it depends where the farming is done in the game. Like my idea is it's mostly open. It's just done in the open world. Like the rares or the things you can sell, like the materials are farmed in open world. I could be wrong about that in Final Fantasy particularly, but I just think auction house shared, while the servers are not shared, is going to cause resource problems.
Nothing is stopping those botters from farming on the busy servers anyway. Like literally nothing.
Again, the number of spots. Again, it depends on the game. Like what we're talking about. But
regardless, I mean, I do want MMORPGs to feel more, MMO. Like I want to emphasize the massive part as much as I can, because I really do think the massive part of MMO is really what makes it interesting. You have all these people playing one shared world, one game, and it creates really interesting stories, like and exploits. You know, like certain greater groups of people that are like big dick players, that, like holy shit, they're like world's first. They did this, they did that, and it allows like stories and legends to be told. And like it's harder to do that when the community is fractured in between all these different servers. And I don't think I'd be playing Final Fantasy today if I couldn't be playing on the server I'm playing on right now, which is a busier server. Any MMO, I really get, like, as stupid as it sounds, like if I walk into town, if I walk outside town, I see other players, like even if I'm not party with them, just seeing them there makes me like, okay, this is kind of cool. Like I'm seeing these other people playing the same game I am. It kind of gives the game more meaning to me. So I really, whatever we can do to increase, whether it's some kind of interaction between players, whether it's one mega server or cross world auction house, I think it's a good solution.
How do you feel about this? And this could be a weekly raid all on its own. But World of Warcraft is implementing something similar to what they have in the Legion realms currently, or Legion zones, where it's basically adjusting for your level. So Guild Wars does this, Guild Wars 2, Elder Scrolls Online does this, and now WoW is going to be doing it for all zones, I believe, starting at level 60. So all the level 60 plus zones. So it's not going to be so it won't be like a level 120 character can go to like Goldshire and get killed by a boar. Okay,
yeah,
so,
only level 60 plus zones.
Yeah. So
it's kind of cool.
I don't know how I feel about this. All right, go ahead.
The real interesting thing about the way it's an interesting solution, I think, to a design problem. Now, obviously, I'm no expert on design here, but I think developers kind of realize that players will always go with a certain path, because there's a lot of places to level up in World of Warcraft, and like you can take the path you want, but it kind of makes a lot of zones meaningless. Like I remember when we were leveling in World of Warcraft, I never went to like Red Rock Mountains. I kind of skipped that zone because I just maybe stayed in Westfall a little bit longer, and I was able to get right to Darkshire. So it kind of allows players to level up in all these different zones that maybe they never got to do before. Maybe like when they reach, like they can clear all the basic content that they want to get the max level. They can start doing quests and hunting in zones that they normally would not have gone to before. I think it kind of disperses players a little bit more. It gives them more choice of where they want to go, rather than just always following this linear path or this like forked path. There's usually one or two different options where you can go. Now you'll be able to go pretty much anywhere after level 60 on where you want to level up, how you want to experience the story in that zone. Because let's be real, like the stories in the zones like aren't really relevant to your level. Like if you're in the Goblin, the Tenaris, if you're in Tenaris, like the story in that zone, like the missions in that zone are like no more or less meaningful than like the story in some other zone. Like it's not like level restricted. Like it doesn't make sense anyway. You're not saving the world there anyway. So I think it's an interesting solution to this problem of having these linear paths and where you can level up. And I think it'll allow players to kind of get more of the content if they do it like this. But I could be completely wrong.
I also think it's a very interesting way to perhaps reuse old zones in interesting ways. So like a max level character, if he goes back to like a mid-level zone, there could be a whole a different quest line for him to experience, or different things to see in that zone, where since the monster's scaled and everything's scaled, he's not literally losing out on like the the gameplay. It's just a whole new way to experience that zone. I don't know, so they could do like a whole quest line for the Alliance in a Horde zone, like a low B Horde zone would have a whole high level Alliance quest line, and vice versa. That'd be an interesting way to reuse old content, maybe.
What do you think about somebody asked this question earlier. What do you think about MMOs designing themselves around like fighting bots, whether it's Black Desert or Trade of Savior, where like you have trade restrictions and stuff like that?
Oh, so like if you you kind of would do open PvP or for that, right?
No, as in like you literally just like cannot trade items, like you cannot sell.
Oh,
like there's actual trade restrictions kind of preventing you from.
No, I think it's a bad.
And obviously, those systems are made to fight botting.
Yeah.
And RMT.
Again, I think a better way to do it would be like an in-game method of doing it, like killing bots or something.
How do you kill bots?
Just like if PKing is activated or something.
But PKing is activated again. Now you have a problem with hardcore MMORPGs that other people getting PK. Like you can't just only PK bots. You can PK anyone.
Yeah. So again, that's just here's what I mean. Like a game like Eve, right? If a bot is trying to bot in like a low sec area, and you realize it's a bot. Right, it's very easy to kill.
Bots are not going to bot. They can bot in high security areas in Eve.
Yeah, but again, there's less money to be made there. So
it's so much. Yeah, I don't think you can say you can design the systems around this, because this is botting and RMT and stuff like this have been literally a problem with MMORPGs since the dawn of the genre. Like, if people want to bot, and they're going to do it. Like, and it seems like no amount of counter effort can really stop it. Which is why I think they're doing these like literal in-game systems that try to stop it. Which I think is a problem. First of all, I don't think that's a solution. I think you just gotta deal with it, because the moment you introduce these systems that you restrict trade, the way Tree of Savior does, the way Black Desert does, like for the Tree of Savior example, like you are literally ruining the MMO experience for 95% of the player base to stop 5% of the player base from cheating. Like, why are you ruining the game for 95% of players by putting these artificial restrictions on trade? Trading is such an integral part of like MMOs. Like, it's an online game. Like, giving items to other players in commerce is like such a basic concept. The moment you get rid of that, like, why am I playing this MMO in the first place? I could be playing. I'm basically playing Skyrim by myself anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of the reason a lot of the fuel is pulled out of the MMO genre, in the past few years, is because of that. Like, if you restrict it so much, if you instance things so much, if you do scaled leveling so much, all this stuff, it all adds up to basically it's no longer like there's nothing multi about it. So like there's nothing massive about it. There's no other players involved in data, in your hour by hour, day by day experience, besides a queue. It's no different than like like you said, like Skyrim or something.
Skyrim. Which is why I'm kind of more hesitant to really embrace games like Closers, which is launching closed beta real soon, actually, on Steam later this month too. And games like Soul Worker and Vindictus, they kind of feel like these. They don't really feel like MMOs to me. Like, I know that, look, obviously other people say they're not MMOs. They're there's no massive world, but they have these persistent hubs like in town and stuff. But like these games call themselves MMORPGs, so I don't think it's fair for me to say they're not MMORPGs. I think they still are, but to me they don't feel like real MMORPGs. Mm-hmm. I feel like a persistent world is kind of a prerequisite in the back of my mind as this to get the MMORPG experience. Because if you have just these hubs, I haven't seen a game with the hub world that just really feels like it has all these community elements, has this like living, breathing world experience. Even though like a lot of the zones are empty and
I felt Vindictus did an okay job with that, because it wasn't just like one little circle that you float in. The town was relatively large. You can kind of walk around this big area. You see everyone's like cosmetic outfits and their equipment. So I think Vindictus did an okay job with it.
Vindictus had like 90+ channels. If I remember correctly.
You know what else I loved about? Hold on, I wasn't perfect, right? But you know what I loved about Vindictus too? And this is like a attention to detail you don't get with games like Closers. So when you left from the hub world to like a mission, right, with you and your party or solo, whatever it was, you actually saw like the dock in town, right, and there were these long ships, and your group would like go on to the long ship, and you kind of would see it sail off. So it would kind of in the game world explain why you're like detached now from like the hub world, because you're literally going on a longboat to unknown destination or whatever, and you come back to town. Where in Closers, you just right-click a portal and you're just, wherever.
No, you're right. I do think that little distinction actually at least helps, like, make the story something. Like, there's an explanation for what's happening. You just kind of teleport outside town to these instant zones, and it does feel kind of stupid. So at least, props to Vindictus for actually doing that.
That's
I think Vindictus is the only Source Engine MMORPG out there too, isn't it?
It is. It is. It's made on Valve Source Engine, which is interesting. But I think Vindictus, because of that, has a much more cohesive. At least it did years back. A community, a sense of like one game, one community. So I wish more hub world games would do stuff like that.
I'm just really wishing that newer games don't embrace this model of restricting trade, because I know Black Desert does it to a degree. Tree of Savior did it. Diablo 3 does it. So I'm really hoping newer MMORPGs completely ignore that idea, because I think that's such a fundamental element of a game. Like the way the economy works is like you don't have to be super involved with it, but it just feels really restrictive. And again, I don't want to be playing some Skyrim with some multiplayer elements. I want to play an MMORPG. I want the massive experience. And trading for me is just one of those experiences you just can't fuck up. Otherwise, it's not really an MMORPG.
Did you get a chance to see the cinematic? Back to BlizzCon.
Of course. Yeah. It's epic. I do think Blizzard is a master of making these amazing, epic-looking cutscenes. And even if you don't like live WoW the way it is today, like just watch the trailers. They're fucking amazing.
I have one complaint though. Actually, I feel like they should have kept the aesthetic. Feels different than like what the WoW actually is. Like, it's too realistic. Like I think they should have kept it more stylized, like the actual in-game graphics and earlier cinematics. So it's just a little too realistic for me. It just feels weird. I don't know.
It's still, you still have like the characters still kind of look like the way they do in game. It's not like super hyper real.
I know.
Yes, it's more realistic in game, but I don't think it's like hyper realistic.
Okay. It's still good.
I think it looks
it still looks good. It still looks good. But
Battle of Azeroth, I think it should. There's no release date for that, by the way. It should, but given the way like every other Blizzard expansion kind of launches like 12 to 18 months in between other expansions. So I'm gonna say mid to early 2018 should be when Battle of Azeroth comes out. I think like August or June, around there, it should be when it comes out. That's my guess based on previous data, but we'll find out more obviously when they actually announce it themselves.
There were other interesting announcements at BlizzCon. StarCraft 2 going officially free to play, not just the arcade and like the custom games, but the ranked ladder with all the current players. You get all the new units.
Hell yeah!
And you get the original campaign, Wings of Liberty, for free with the free version. You still got to pay for the Heart of the Swarm and Legacy of the Void campaigns. But I don't think you're missing a lot there. I'm just surprised they didn't just include that too. Why not?
Because they want to make money. That's why. But I feel like that's allowed. They got to monetize something else. They got to add like microtransactions, like hats and stuff. Like be able to buy hats for your Space Marines or something. I know you talked about that before.
Oh yeah, I think back when StarCraft 2 was big, like new, if they just charged $5 during Christmas for your Marines to have Christmas hats, $5, right? So that's like 10% of the full game, right? They would have sold so many, and like it's crazy how many they would have sold.
People love cosmetics.
Yeah.
I think I realized that like it's such a like sell for people. Like I've seen some people buy cosmetics in League, Final Fantasy, and everything. Like, people love cosmetics. Let them differentiate their characters that way and their units. I feel like it doesn't hurt the game at all. It just makes Blizzard more money, and then the more money Blizzard makes off StarCraft, the more love the game will get. Because let's be real, StarCraft 2 has been in decline for quite some time. I mean, it doesn't have it doesn't pull the numbers that even Diablo 3 does, or WoW, or Overwatch, or Hearthstone, any of their new games. They never talk about StarCraft 2 in their earnings reports, which I read. They always talk about how great Overwatch is doing, how great WoW is doing, how great Hearthstone is doing. They never talk about poor old StarCraft 2 because the game is pretty low player base. And I think this move to make it free to play though will be great because, and it came out of necessity.
Yeah.
Because the people that still play StarCraft 2 that love the game, they're waiting in longer and longer queues to find ranked matches. So they figure if they made it free to play, more people will start playing, and the entire online ranked play is completely free to play as well. You get access to all the units. It's going to bring more people into the ladder play, and the experience for the dedicated fans will be much, much better. I actually plan on playing it when it launches to play online play because I loved StarCraft 2 online ladder play. I loved it. It was the most fun I've had in a while. I got the Masters tier rating. I was Diamond before that came out, then Masters. Never got Grand Masters because I kind of quit after, But I played a lot, so I'm looking forward to it.
I think the best I did was Diamond in StarCraft 2.
And you like 4 or 5 pooled every time or something?
I 6 pooled because you start with 6. You start with 6 drones in StarCraft 2, and I would just make no extra drones, just go straight to Zerglings, and that got me all the way to Diamond. I forgot the percentage Diamond is, but it's pretty high, and it's just so funny.
I have a theory on why StarCraft 2 and RTS games in general are not doing well. A pretty good theory.
What is your theory?
My theory is that games that need to succeed today in modern gaming have to be games where you can blame your teammates. A game like StarCraft 2, when you lost, it was literally your fault. There was no way to deflect blame on anyone else because it's a 1v1 game. You lose because you suck. That's it. You lost because you did bad. But look at the games that succeed today. Look at games like League of Legends. Look at games like Overwatch. Look at games like CSGO. When you lose a game in Overwatch and CSGO and Dota and League, and when you know your friends lose, think about all the times you've spoken to your friends about League, Dota, Overwatch, CSGO, any modern online game. The first thing they always bitch about is their teammates suck. Every single time. Nobody says, "Oh man,
it was my fault.
I'm silver. They suck." Nobody says that. Nobody. I'm so unlucky. I always get the worst teammates. Man, this is so hard. Everybody says that. You know why? And that's the reason they keep playing these games. The moment they realize they suck and they're the problem, they may feel so bad about themselves they'll stop playing. Which is what happened with Wings of Liberty and with StarCraft 2. There's no way to deflect blame, and people play and they realize I'm not climbing anymore. Like I've reached my ceiling. I'm not going to get better because I suck at this game. Like when they realize that, they quit. But they will never realize that in League of Legends. They will never realize that in a team game like CSGO or any modern online game. There's always somebody else to blame for your current ladder, your current ranking, and you may never discover it's your fault. Which is why those games. I think I am so confident on this theory. I don't think 1v1 games like StarCraft will ever do well online to the same degree that you see these other games.
You're right. You're right, and it's a very funny point because being bad, doing poorly is a good thing because it tells you not to waste your time doing that thing. There's like and just being bad at one game or like one activity. Like if you're bad at guitar, it doesn't mean like you're just a bad person. Just maybe you're good at writing poetry. There's other ways there's other things for you to be creative with. So if you're bad at a game like StarCraft, you can just move on. Also, if you're bad at Dota or League, I think a lot of the flaming and stress comes from what you're saying. People who don't realize they're bad, but they still get bad results and they don't know what to do with it. Like they don't have a real explanation that fits reality. So they just kind of get depressed and stressed and angry the whole time.
Oh, good. Taichi's made a good point that you can blame RNG on Hearthstone as well, which is remarkable because people in Hearthstone, and that's a beautiful example, because in Hearthstone, people get stuck in like not even high rankings like 10, right? Or like 11 or 15 or something, right? They're not even legendary. They're like in rank 10, which is again pretty easy to get. They get stuck in that percentile and they'll blame like RNG. And like, dude, you've been playing Hearthstone for like years and like you never get past this. Like at a certain point, it's not RNG, but they don't realize that. And that's the beauty of like the RNG element in Hearthstone and the beauty of having teammates in other online games. And you can't do that in StarCraft where it's all skill. If you had some RNG in StarCraft, like if they introduce some RNG elements with like your units doing like really wide ranges of damage, like, oh, my Marines always hit low that time. They never crit, my units just never crit, which is why I did poorly. If they added that shit to the game, it would prevent people from realizing they suck. But I think you made a good observation too, that a lot of the frustration and the anger and the rage in Dota and League, it comes from people not realizing the reason they're where they are and the results aren't what they want. It's exactly what you said. That's a good take on it, I think. Yeah,
and it really is true because like I'm that guy, guys. By the way, I know people think I'm an asshole, which maybe I am. But if someone is really like once in a while, I'll say this. Not if you say this every game, you're obviously the problem. But like once every like 50 games, I'll meet somebody in like Dota when I'm playing with a group or something, who's just abysmally bad. And I can tell he has like 1,000 games played. At that point, you know what I say to him? Dude, just play a different game. Like it's time to move on. Like I'm not even gonna like say you're bad or a fag or whatever, because you insult someone when like they're good, but they're as good as you, but they messed up, right? But if someone is just so abysmally bad, it's just I can't just make fun of him because like he just shouldn't be playing this game. Like he should just move on. If he put that 1,000 hours or 1,000 games into something else, he'd probably be good at it. So that does happen once in a while, and I think there are a lot of people who are just very angry playing a game. If they played a different game, they'll just be happier, I think.
No, and what you're saying applies to MMORPGs as well. Because actually, my friend the other day mentioned this when we were raiding last night in Final Fantasy. Like, the reason they don't have DPS meters built into Final Fantasy, and typically most games, is because if people realize that their max level characters with like half decent gear are hitting for like 2,000 DPS in Final Fantasy 14, like you would just uninstall at that point. There's no other advice you can give them. If you're max level and you're trying to raid and you've been raiding for a while and you can't hit more than like 2k DPS or 2.5k DPS, like you just have to uninstall at that point. You can't even call them bad. Like if you're hitting for 3k, yeah, you can call them bad. There's some chance to improve there. Maybe they're messing something up, but there's no hope. Play something else. Like
yeah,
there's nothing else you can do at that point. Like you're just not cut out for this game.
I think that's so important. I think one of the biggest like things you learn in life, like from going from a kid, and I think kids, like parents and teachers, do a big mistake when they tell kids anyone can be anything. Like if you're just bad at something, instead of wasting more time, go find something you're good at and then become great at that. You know, like, and it applies to games for your fun, for recreation. This is recreation, right? If it's always a struggle for you to like play football, go play soccer or tennis. Like it can be very similar a game. It doesn't. I'm not saying don't give up on sports overall or video games overall, but good life lesson there.
Yeah, that can bring down stress levels a lot.
Yeah,
and I think it's okay to play other games too. Like you have a whole there's so many games to play out there today that like it's okay to like I'm not very good at CS:GO. I think I'm better at Overwatch than I'm at CS:GO, and I don't play CS:GO because I realize I'm not good at it. And I don't want to really put in the time to get good at it personally, but I think games have to make it more obvious, maybe. But they don't. But the games don't want to make it obvious. The problem, like,
yeah,
what you're saying is a good life lesson, but it's in the business interest of whether it's Final Fantasy, whether it's World of Warcraft, or Dota, or League, or CS:GO. They want to hide this information. The more they can tell you it's not your fault, the more you keep playing the game.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I want to do one quick thing too. You guys know, if you're frequent viewers of this, that I have a very low opinion of the average gamer. I say stuff like, if you have Discord installed, you're in top 10%. And Omar, you talking about StarCraft 2 reminded me of where I actually got my low opinion of gamers, the average gamer. And that was StarCraft 2. I 6-pooled every single game, and I got to Diamond League. And this was before there was any expansions out, so it wasn't like the player base was low. And, a frequent, people got mad at me. Like, they would type at me when they knew they lost. And they'd be like, you asshole, like, why are you doing this strat? Like, you're such a loser. Like, you uninstalled the game, you're not playing it right. I would look at their profiles. These guys had thousands of games played. And they were consistently falling for like this amateur hour strategy, like no thought strategy, right? Like if you have this many hours in, and this is your consistent, and a queue, when you go up the queue, you often queue with the same people over and over again in the higher ranks. Like I remember the names. Like these guys would, lose to me on the same map with the same strategy multiple times.
No, here's the problem, and I don't think it's entirely fair because the strategy you're describing in StarCraft 2 is a very cheesy strategy. Not just very cheesy, it's a very effective strategy that you can only really overcome with like decent micro. Like they could be really good players, but they don't have the mechanical skill.
Wait, they're not good players then?
No, you have above average, well above average mechanical skill in any game. But that doesn't mean you could be great at StarCraft 2 with just your mechanical skill, but you need decision making and more macro skill, which I don't know if you have or not. But again, the problem with this strategy it was uniquely effective.
Okay, but here's the thing.
It really required tremendous micro on their part.
Yeah, they needed micro. But here's the thing.
They needed more micro than you did.
Yeah, okay.
Which is why I think it's not the fairest strat. But yeah, I still get your point of having lower opinions of the average gamer.
Yeah, again, if this works on the top 20%, think how bad the bottom 80 must be.
Yeah, but Canaris makes a good point too about Overwatch and how they don't show your KD ratio, and this is why they do it for a reason. It's called positive reinforcement. I think if people started seeing they're playing like Widowmaker, they're playing Soldier 76, they're playing like these DPS hit scan heroes, and they're always dying, like their kill death ratio is always negative. If they see that, they might quit the game. They might realize they suck. But again, Blizzard is now becoming the master of hiding how bad you're doing, which is why now we have eliminations. Like I hate that term eliminations. HOTS does it too, right? They don't show you your kills anymore. It's always eliminations, which is bullshit. Eliminations counts any assists. Like you poke one guy with one bullet, it counts as your elimination now. And everyone's like, dude, I got like 40 eliminations that game. Like, bro, it doesn't mean shit, dude. You got like one poke on some guy. It's elimination, right? Or you're playing like fucking an AoE hero. You get one little poke on them, you get elimination. It's so stupid. I hate that strat. But I realize it's such a genius marketing, and we're never going to see games that rely on pure raw skill anymore, and they won't be 1v1 games anymore.
Pure raw skill.
It's all about being able to blame teammates, and I think that is like the discovery I think that game companies have made in like the last like 5-10 years, which is tremendous, and we'll always have games like that now. 1v1 games cannot succeed for that reason, at least on PC.
Telling you guys, mobile is the future, and all the things that come with that. The autoplay, the like no input gaming, that stuff is going to be more and more common, I think.
And actually, I have to extend this to mobile as well. I was thinking for a moment, does my theory apply to mobile games, right? I'm thinking Clash Royale is a 1v1 game, right? But I realized why Clash Royale is pay to win. If Clash Royale wasn't pay to win, nobody would play it. You know why? They would realize they suck and they'll stop playing, right? But when somebody loses in Clash Royale, do you know what they think to themselves? This fucking pay to win guy beat me. That's what he thinks. And that's what I think too. When I play Clash Royale and I don't spend any money, every time I lose, every single time I lose. Not once would I ever think to myself, damn, this guy was good. I always think, this fucker paid, that's why he beat me, right? If Clash Royale existed in a completely balanced state of mind, like completely balanced game with no pay-to-win elements, not only would they not make money, forget the money part, nobody would play.
You're right.
The idea of 1v1 and everyone reaching their skill level and immediately quitting, it would destroy the game. It would have the same curve as StarCraft 2. Yep. This pay-to-win element is what makes Clash Royale popular. It brings players in and it keeps players in.
That's good. That's a good observation. Yeah, I didn't think of that. So, I mean, Blizzard will never do this with StarCraft. But could you imagine an RTS where, like, you could, again, like, you build a Marine, I build a Marine, but because, you can upgrade their cards or their equipment, whatever, like, yours has, like, a level 20 Gauss rifle, so it does, like, 0.5% more damage, right?
No. Canaris was talking about this, actually. He said, what if in your barracks you get, like, a gray tier Marine, a green tier Marine, a blue tier Marine, or a legendary Marine, they're slightly different stats, you get a random one every single time.
Right? That'd be so cool, because that'd actually be realistic too, because sometimes some fighter pilots are better than others, right? So imagine, like, you build a Wraith, I build a Wraith, but my guy's cool, he can, like, do flips and kill your Wraiths easily.
You do a barrel roll, you know? No, but if they did that, I bet you, no matter how stupid that sounds, I think StarCraft would be more popular today. Yeah. And obviously, everyone that plays StarCraft 2 will say they fucking hate it, right? They're all going to bitch about pay to win, but guess what? That's the reason they'll keep playing, because it gives them an out. Everyone needs an excuse to protect their ego, to protect their self-esteem. But, we can't handle the harsh reality that we may suck. And, like...
Life lessons. Embrace the fact that you suck.
That you may suck. And I think, but if you embrace that, I think you said earlier, you'd be a happier person, you play something else,
Yeah.
Like... It's obviously that this doesn't apply to everyone. There are just toxic people out there that are very good at the game they play. We know a couple people like that.
Yeah,
but I think they're toxic because they reply to other people that are toxic too.
I actually had a friend, a mutual friend, he said to me, Aaron, I stopped playing Dota, and like it was such a good choice because like I'm so much less like angry now in my day to day. Like, it's so funny that like just quitting a game can make you feel better.
Zyler, a lot of people play Clash Royale. That game is one of the most popular mobile games in the world. Highest, player base, some of the highest, revenue generating numbers. Game is booming, and I'm convinced that the game wasn't pay to win. I think I might like it more, but I won't. I'll quit the game because I'll reach my skill ceiling very quickly and stop playing. People need an excuse. I need an excuse. We all need an excuse. All right, guys. We all need to blame somebody else, and something. We should. we have to look. Yeah, we have to start looking deep inside sometimes, and like where we are in League, where we are in CS:GO, and realize that we may be the problem. But we're never gonna do that. It's never gonna happen.
Indeed. All right, let's wrap up the BlizzCon stuff. So HOTS got 2 new heroes announced, Hanzo and I have a hard time pronouncing this name, the Dragon Lady from WoW. What is Aziasia?
What?
What's the?
I know you're talking about. I can't believe I forgot her name. HOTS. You pronounced it completely wrong.
Whoa, I got that shit right. All right. Alexstrasza. There you go.
How do you pronounce that the way you just did? Alexstrasza.
All right. It's a lot of.
All right, they're coming. Yeah.
There's a lot of letters here. Okay. There's a lot of strange letters. Z's and S's.
You know, at BlizzCon there was the World Championship for Heroes of the Storm, and I actually watched it. So I watched. South Korea won a lot of esports events this last week. They won. The South Korean team won the Overwatch World Cup. The South Korean team won the Heroes of the Storm World Cup. The South Korean team won the League of Legends World Championship as well. Though the League of Legends one should not be a surprise because both teams in the finals were South Korean teams. It's still pretty hilarious.
Your country can't lose if both sides are your country. All right.
Can't lose if you're both in the finals. Like man thinking meme. But it's pretty funny that in the league we had the exact same matchup as last year. Like last year was Samsung Galaxy versus SK Telecom, and this year it was SK Telecom versus Samsung Galaxy. The same 2 South Korean teams made it to the world stage. Though spoilers, this time Samsung Galaxy won and they dethroned SK Telecom. They won a big 3-0 way as well. But it was a lot of big South Korean victories this last week. I'm not too hyped for the new heroes in HOTS.
No.
I'm a one-trick pony in HOTS personally, so the new heroes don't really interest me. But hopefully it brings more people to the game because I've been playing a little bit of HOTS lately. Because some of my friends have been playing, so I've been playing it with them, and I've been having some fun with it because I play casually. I don't think I'd have fun if I played it all day. But I think hopefully it brings more people to the game.
I am proud of my call with HOTS. I know when you guys were all bashing it, I said, look, this one's got legs. It's fun. If I was going to introduce someone new to MOBAs, I would pick HOTS. I would not pick League or Dota. I pick League before Dota, but I wouldn't pick either if HOTS is an option. It's just a so much easier game to get into.
But do you think the numbers are still so much smaller for Heroes of the Storm? I mean, again, Blizzard doesn't even talk about the numbers for Heroes of the Storm. They don't do it for a reason. Like again, the Blizzard earnings report came out this last week. We're not going to talk about that too much, but they hyped that basically Hearthstone is hitting all-time highs again. Overwatch is now over 25-30 million users now. They new record number. So both they talk a lot about their other games. They don't talk about Starcraft 2, and they don't really talk about Diablo either. But they don't talk about Heroes of the Storm. They never talk about Heroes of the Storm. And the numbers I don't think are quite there just yet. And clearly, Blizzard's not giving up on the game. They're still doing these world championships. They're doing a lot to bring people to the game. But it's just the numbers aren't there for HOTS yet, which is I think a bit surprising actually, because I think I agree with you that this is the most accessible MOBA.
Yeah.
And the only reason I can think it's not successful is because how established League already is. Like, League kind of sucked all the player base in, and League has so many people in it already. Like they bring their friends into it as well. So it's kind of hard for a new MOBA or a new game to kind of break into the genre when you're such a dominant player. But I think if both League and HOTS launch at the same time, there's no doubt in my mind that HOTS would be the bigger game. I think League is a better game because of my personal preference, but HOTS would be bigger because it would be easier to get into.
Indeed. All right, I think that wraps up BlizzCon, so we can actually get to other news before.
We had some Overwatch stuff, but let's not talk. We got Moira.
A new hero on Overwatch. New map. The map looks cool. You guys should watch a trailer for the map. But I do want to get to other things because we were talking about BlizzCon the whole time.
We have some big news actually this week.
Let's hear it.
Quite a few big things.
Let's hear the Lineage one. That's a good one.
Lineage is the big one. We talk a lot about Lineage Eternal. There's a lot of hype for Lineage Eternal, so we got to talk a little bit about it. My brother wrote an article on MMOs.com like a little while ago talking about the fact that Lineage Eternal was delayed once again. And now we have a new trailer for Project TL, which is actually basically what happened is NCSoft pretty much entirely scrapped Lineage Eternal, and they're starting from scratch. Make it basically a new game. And they're calling it the codename Project TL.
I don't want to say it's a new game because if you watch this trailer, guys, there's going to be a point where it looks very familiar. It looks exactly like it's the exact same scene as the Lineage Eternal trailer we saw like 5 years ago, like 3 years ago. Like where there's like a guy with a sword going through like this linear path of like orcs or whatever. Right here, we're going to see it on the ramparts. So this part, we saw this exact same trailer. It's just that it's got a new engine now. So instead of their custom engine, it is now going to be on Unreal Engine 4.
And I said it's a new game because actually NCSoft specifically said players should view Project TL as an entirely new game, not a remake or rework.
That's interesting. Why I mean, am I imagining things like we're coming up to the part I'm talking about? Maybe I'll skip ahead. Do you guys not remember this exact same scene?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know what they're it's basically it's basically the exact same scene we saw of this dude fighting on this like shattered area. But whatever. If they want to say it's a new game, it's a new game. All right.
They say it's a new game because there's some elements are the same, obviously, but they said there's an entirely new game engine. Obviously, they ditched the Guild Wars engine they had before for Unreal Engine 4. There's new art assets, and they had a multi-character control system that's been removed entirely. You can't play multiple characters. Instead, you play one character, one avatar, the way you did in any other MMORPG.
Yep.
So before they had this system where you can play multiple characters at once. That's all gone. Now back to standard MMORPG stuff. Okay. So that's why they're calling it a new game. I think some of the systems have been completely changed as well. Obviously, they're still using the same blueprint of the same, ARPG style gameplay, but they went out of their way to say they should be viewed as a new game. And there's a whole new team working on it as well. All the people working on Lineage Eternal before, gone. Out.
Gone.
They got rid of them.
You guys are fired.
They axed them.
So
the throats are cut.
So here's a funny story. So when the Lineage Eternal first got announced, the cool thing about it was the fact that it would be multi-platform, cross-platform, mobile and PC. And obviously that didn't work. I don't think any game has really pulled that off yet.
No, nothing yet.
Yeah, so a few games have tried it. RuneScape is next up. They're gonna try it next. I
think RuneScape will be the only one will be the first one to succeed. RuneScape will be the first PC MMORPG that launches a good mobile client that's gonna actually really help the game, I think.
All right, I hope so. It's an old game, so obviously phones can handle it. Hopefully they nail the controls and it feels good. We'll see.
Also, think how capable the RuneScape developers have been over all these years. I feel like they didn't really fuck up the game too much. They kind of they never did anything too bad. They had some trade restrictions that they removed some players, but they're very capable developers. They were pretty early on in the MMORPG scene, and they had the game working entirely on the web browser. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for the RuneScape team, so I think they're gonna be able to do a good job with this too. LBN is only on Android and it's in beta right now.
It's in beta, exactly, and I think the population has been falling off pretty quickly. So by the time that leaves beta, I don't know if anyone's gonna be around to play it. To be too mean.
But I mean, with Lineage Eternal, it is so weird to hear this game that was revealed back in 2011. They've been working on it for 6 years. They're okay, time to scrap everything, fire their team, and hire a new team to make it. They have a whole new team on this, and they have what's interesting is they have some pretty clear targets. They said they want to release in closed beta in 2018. So right away they want some kind of playable version soon. I feel like the boss at NCSoft are okay, no more fucking around, guys. We gave you 7 years and nothing happened, all right? Okay. Now we're gonna give you a fucking deadlines.
I bet that obviously proves to me that it's the same game. They changed a few elements, yes, but you can't make a game from scratch in a year. No, I agree. So it's clearly that they're changing the art assets and stuff, but it's gonna be the same. They're gonna reuse a lot of the concepts they had.
But I think they're gonna be a lot less ambitious.
Yeah, sure.
They're scaling back the multi-character system. I don't know if they're gonna go for this multi-platform play anymore. I think they're gonna make it more traditional and more RPG.
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
Hopefully it happens. I mean, Lineage Eternal has always been one of our most hyped games on MMOs.com. It's consistently set in our top rated games, even though it's not even out yet.
Yeah, I think again, Americans and Western people in general, we kind of lose out on how big Lineage is. Lineage 1 is still huge. It's mostly on mobile now, but it's still in the top 10. In fact, 2 of the top 10 most grossing mobile games right now in the world are Lineage games. Lineage 2 Eternal and Lineage M. So 2 out of 10 of the top games on mobile are Lineage games right now. That's a huge franchise. So this game is still being highly anticipated. It will have a lot of competition when it comes out. Lost Ark is also another MMO's favorite for previews. And Mu Legend came out in open beta recently, right?
Yeah, Mu Legend actually came out today.
Today, there you go.
And actually, I think it came out last night, actually. I think maybe past midnight sometime, my time. So I didn't actually play. I did install it just now, though. So I have the game installed and ready to go. So I'll probably be playing probably later tonight. I do have to do my Final Fantasy 14 raids first. I want to get that out of the way, and I'll probably be playing some Mu Legend afterwards. But it had quite a bit of hype. I think both the EU and NA servers were both had queues to get in at launch hour. So there's a lot of initial hype on Mu Legend. I'm curious how much of that hype will remain weeks after launch, though. But weirdly enough, there's only 4 classes right now. And they said they launched all the content, but the South Korean version has the 5th class, the Emphasizer. Again, a very stupid name for a class, an Emphasizer. But I don't know when we're gonna get that 5th class. 4 classes early on is kind of lame. I feel like I want more class variety in my games. But I'm gonna play. I enjoy playing the closed beta. The game has built-in DPS meters, so I like that. But they gotta get rid of that though. Again, the DPS meters gonna gonna make people realize they suck.
I feel like Mu won't get rid of it. Mu doesn't give a shit.
Mu gives no shits.
No, Mu doesn't care.
Mu's got no looking at the numbers.
No.
They're playing it by ear. They're doing everything. With no testing. YOLO.
Pretty much.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna play that. I'm kind of excited for that.
Go ahead. I have a fun shock for you once we move from the subject.
All right.
Okay.
Take it.
So, Omar, what % of Steam users do you think are Chinese?
I have no idea. I wouldn't know where. I would not know where to. I didn't know they use again. What they do? Are you counting the Dota 2 players in China?
No. The Steam client. Whether it's no, it's just whatever.
Because they have a modified client.
No, I'm talking about the regular client for Steam.
Okay.
Like Steam,
again,
SteamPower.com. Okay.
Ooh, clearly it's a larger number. That's why you asked me. I'm gonna say like 10% because that seems pretty high, even though because the games are not Chinese on.
All right,
on
so we went
Steam.
to Steam hardware survey, official Steam hardware survey, and we're gonna do language. It's a good proxy for country, right? It is 56% simplified Chinese, which means mainland
Holy
China.
shit!
The
majority
of Steam users, all Steam users in the world are Chinese, and there's only one reason for it. Do you know what it is?
It's PUBG.
It's PUBG, baby. PUBG is not officially licensed. And I learned all this week. Steam has been operating completely illegally in it's a complete gray area. It's just kind of it never got caught by the Great Firewall. So that people can just log in to the steampower.com, download the client, and then play on the US servers. So PUBG has never been sanctioned by the government. It's never been approved, but it's also never been banned. So because of that, it exists in this gray area where you can play it on Steam, and that alone, because it's huge, PUBG is huge in China. That alone means over half of all Steam users are Chinese from China.
That's amazing. That's an MMOs.com article you can put up later. That's crazy. I had no idea the number was that high. I mean, PUBG is insane. The game continues to grow. Yeah. It hit like 2.5 million concurrent players this last week, hitting another new record. But so many of those players are in China. I'm curious if they launch a Chinese version, how many players will leave the Steam version and go for the official Chinese version? I'm curious what the numbers will be afterwards.
I think at this point, PUBG is a bigger thing than Steam. So
yeah, that's everything.
Because clear these simplified Chinese people. I mean, almost all of them are playing PUBG. They downloaded Steam and they bought PUBG because that's the only way to play it in China. And that's it. They're just there for that.
That's amazing. That's remarkable how big that is. Holy crap. There's a mobile version of PUBG came out too in China through a Chinese developer. I'm curious to see when we're going to get our first mobile PUBG in America.
Well, it's called Battle Royale. It's not called PUBG. That's like the trademark.
Yeah, that's right.
This is not genre. So the mobile game that came out in China is by NetEase, and it's not PUBG. It's just a mobile Battle Royale game that's trying to copy PUBG.
It'll do well. It'll do well for sure.
Yeah. So that was my big shock of the week. I'm glad you were shocked.
I had no idea the numbers were that big. I didn't. Again, it's all PUBG, so that's what kind of skewed the data. I should have figured they were all playing that over here as well.
Do you think that's worth the article? I'll put that up after this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. You put that up afterwards. I want to talk about one thing to settle our bet from last week. We talked about Final Fantasy XIV's hardest raid on the Unending Coil of Bahamut. It was cleared shortly after we made that bet. I think like 2-3 days afterwards. It was unfortunate because we didn't quite make it to the next week. But yeah, the hardest content in Final Fantasy XIV was just cleared. It was cleared by a guild in the Japanese server. The Japanese beat us to it. Called, I think, Dysnomia. A team called Dysnomia cleared it on November 4th, 2017, which is 11 days after it officially launched. Which, even though a lot of people observing this may not think it's a lot of time, but think about that. 11 days was basically countless teams of hardcore, raiders doing this nonstop. If you look at just the streamers that did it, some streamers played this for 10 hours a day, and they didn't clear it yet. So there were a lot of teams working on this, and it took these guys still 11 days to do it. I think this team was not a streaming team. They were kind of smart. They hid their strategies, and they just did it by themselves. They put a picture up when they actually downed it. So it's pretty cool they actually end up doing it. And yes, what's funny is they actually had a Dark Knight on their team as well. And this brings up a bigger conversation about meta. I feel like people say Dark Knight suck, right? It was one of the 10 classes in Final Fantasy 14, and it shows that they were able to clear the hardest content using this 10 class, which is not considered meta. They consider it kind of weak, which is, again, it's remarkable they were able to do that.
So there's something unique, huh?
Yeah, I mean, again, meta is an interesting concept in basically these MMORPGs. When you start playing a non-meta character, people just yell at you. I mean, it kind of feels bad right now to play Final Fantasy 14 as a black mage, as my main, because black mages have been in a position in the game where they're basically unloved and unmeta. In fact, a lot of party finder groups disable black mages. You cannot join our party for black mage. We need 4 DPS.
That's racism. That's racism.
I know. White mages are allowed. Black mages aren't. Nobody hates on the white mages. They only hate the black mages. Right?
Black mages, destroy things. It's part of their nature. So white mages, they build civilization to heal. They bind.
There you go.
So I'm talking about a game right now, guys. Don't get mad.
Yeah, this sounds legit though. So again, as a black mage, I can't join a lot of parties because they disable black mage as a DPS role because you bring almost nothing to the party in terms of utility. Other DPS classes buff other classes. They bring more utility. Black mage has no utility. They just stand there doing damage.
Nice.
So life is bad as black mage. Feels bad, man. gotta play white mage to get the full
Hard
the
mode.
full experience. But meta becomes an interesting concept, whether it's MMORPGs, whether it's MOBAs, and I don't like how strongly meta embeds itself into people's minds. In MMORPGs, a little bit less, because when you're doing high tier content, I understand the need to like try to optimize your roles. But the problem is in like MOBAs, I don't think it matters nearly as much unless you're on the world stage or you're playing in a professional tier.
Yeah.
Like metas and stuff doesn't. Come on, guys. You're playing like you shit your gold rating, your bronze rating. It doesn't matter. All right, dude. You're playing Baka tier anyway. Like you could climb to like a challenger tier playing like garbage heroes, non-meta heroes. It happens. I climbed to fucking Masters tier, top 200, top 100 actually playing non-meta Singed for all of season 2. Like
the rage.
yeah.
I don't know how out of meta Singed was, but the rage that I felt when I picked Ricky as my carry in Dota 2 was so funny. Like people were infuriated like that I would pick this hero that's like not meta to play. So it was just amusing. Obviously, since I'm queuing with this guy, he was obviously the same ranking as me. This was solo queue, so this guy's not better than me. So I don't know why he's like getting so mad at me for picking a hero. Which obviously I climbed to his level with this hero, right? So why is he getting mad that I'm picking this hero? It never made sense to me.
Yeah, I don't like that. It really infects people's minds, and like I get it if you're in a high tier, but we're playing in this like not professional tier, dude. Relax, like it doesn't matter. Like you can play the shittiest tier, it doesn't matter. What determines who wins or not is gonna be like your mechanical skill, how circumstances develop in the game. Like it's not my hero that determines the game, like or the picks and bans. The bans don't determine the game either. In pro games, you can make an argument that it does, but definitely not. So I don't know why people get so upset over that. It does trigger people. Sometimes I end up playing like support Singed and people like instantly throw the game or some stuff like that. Like they get so pissed. Dude, what the fuck are you doing? Dude, relax. I got this. I'm fine. Just play your game.
Exactly.
I'm gonna play my game.
Yeah, you got to the same point that they did. So what is their valid argument? They don't have any.
No, it's because they watch pro games. They think like they understand the game and like, oh, they don't pick it in pro games. It must be shit. Like we lost because of you. You didn't pick the right fucking hero. No, dude, we lost because you're fucking bitching all game and typing and you're not playing the actual game. You know, I hate again in Final Fantasy as well. Again, you can do all the content with like non-meta stuff. Like people are like, oh, even like a thing in Final Fantasy as well is people don't like double stacking classes. You know, you have 2 black mages in a group, you have 2 ninjas in a group. Like you actually fill up your limit break gauge a little bit slower because you have double classes and using the same abilities. So yeah, you lose some efficiency, but like you don't need the limit break gauge to win. Like it doesn't matter. Like it should not be this breaking point. Like just start the fucking fight already. Don't worry too much about it. Just play. Yeah, if you're trying to do world's first clears, I get it, but everything else, it still really doesn't matter. You know, so meta, it can be cancerous.
This communication with teammate thing you just mentioned, it reminded me of another BlizzCon announcement. The most shocking. So my most shocking announcement of BlizzCon wasn't the WoW Classic servers, which was a shock, but it was actually the fact that HOTS is adding voice chat. I was like, what?
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so weird.
Like, yeah, it's gonna increase the flaming so much. Like, don't they see that coming? Like,
people are gonna be yelling. People, you know, HOTS has been, I think, a little better for some reason. Like, I see less flamers in HOTS, and you still see them. I think it's less than League and Dota. But there are people out there that rage over HOTS. And the moment you give somebody a mic, oh boy, they're going to have a heyday. So I'm curious to see if they're going to end up backpedaling on that. Because I know Valve can handle the open mic because they don't give any fucks. Like Valve has no like moderation team on that stuff. But I feel like Blizzard is going to get a lot of complaints from people about like people being mean on the internet. And Blizzard, I don't know if they're going to be able to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
So they might backpedal. I think that's the one thing they might backpedal on. I understand the need for communication, but I feel like you can get most of the communication done anyway with like pings and stuff. I don't think it's that important.
I think Blizzard is smart, and here's what they're going to do if they're smart. Let me know what you think of this idea. They're only going to allow voice chat between groups that queue together. So, like, if I group, let's say we get a party of 3 people. Us 3 can voice chat.
Oh, come on. Us, if we're grouped together as 3, we're going to be in Discord anyway. That's bullshit.
That's my guess. That's my guess. So if you queue as a 5 stack, you can voice chat with, the whole team.
But they would gain nothing. That seems so, like, pointless. Everyone's already voice chatting on Discord.
Well, that's my guess.
Yeah, that's a fair guess because I don't think they're going to open it up to randos to yell at each other because that's what they're going to do. You know, I feel like people are going to yell at each other. CSGO is fun. No, the reason Valve has always been very, like, give no fucks attitude, right? And Blizzard backpedaled so quickly off the real money auction house in Diablo 3 because they got complaints and stuff. And, like, they could have easily kept the system in place. They thought about it. They thought it was a good idea. And I thought it was a good idea, too. But they didn't. They couldn't handle the complaints. And, people got hacked and shit. And I don't know if Blizzard will be able to do that as well. And I think League talked about it as well, but I don't know if they're going to do it as well because I think it's going to introduce so much more raging and toxicity to the game.
All right. Any other news stories? I got a few in my pocket here. If you,
I got one more big one. There was an NC South media event actually, just today or last night actually, where they announced quite a bit of fun NC South stuff besides just the Lineage, the Project TL. They actually announced Blade and Soul 2 will be coming out.
Wow, really?
Yeah, but guess what?
Mobile.
It's mobile only, baby.
Oh.
Mobile only Blade and Soul 2.
So why did they decide to call it Blade and Soul 2 rather than just Blade and Soul Mobile?
No, there's already Blade and Soul Mobile. That's why.
Oh, so Blade and Soul Mobile 2.
But guess what? Blade and Soul Mobile is made by the same guys that made Blade and Soul original. So the sequel was not made by the same team that made the original Blade and Soul. That same team worked on Blade and Soul Mobile.
Right.
Instead, Blade and Soul 2 is a sequel to the game, but made by different people, which again raised the question why. It's confusing.
Yeah.
So now they're gonna Blade and Soul Mobile, it's called Blade and Soul M, and Blade and Soul Mobile, Blade and Soul 2, and I guess 2 is definitely the sequel to the original Blade and Soul.
Interesting.
And the game is already done apparently. Like it's finished. They said it's already finished, and now I just think I went to launch it, which is weird. So they're kind of coordinating marketing and their rollout strategy. So I'm guessing early 2018. I like Blade and Soul a lot on the PC. Like the PC Blade and Soul game, I think was a lot of fun. It was a great free-to-play MMORPG. So I mean, when I first heard Blade and Soul 2, I'm like, hey, this is pretty hype. But then I heard mobile only. I'm like, fuck. Like maybe it'll be good. I doubt it, but I'm gonna try it because I like Blade and Soul. But I'm not hyped for the fact that it's mobile. Definitely not hyped about that.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got a fun story that I wrote about earlier this week. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Basically, there's a Japanese mobile game, and there's a user who spent $150,000 in 1 month on that mobile game. Well, what are your thoughts on that kind of spending?
$150,000 on a mobile game? Which game was it?
It was like some weird, like one of those dance idol groups.
Oh, was it an American player or a Japanese player?
Japanese.
Okay, I think this is the reason we're gonna have microtransactions.
Yeah,
and I've talked about this for a while too. But like, the fact that you can spend $150,000 on a mobile game is amazing. Like, let's say it's weird. I know people are gonna maybe say I'm lame for saying this, but like, I think Blizzard is making a big financial mistake by not having higher tier loot boxes. Like, and the reason being is I think you can unlock everything you want in Overwatch with like $1,000. It's a lot of money, right? Like $1,000 to buy loot boxes with. You can get everything in the game, all the content in the game. But with mobile games, you can spend $150,000.
Okay, here's the best part. It was 130 grand. My bad. I got the number slightly wrong off the top of my head. 130,000 in 1 month. And here's the best part. After they spent in July, right? And like a couple days later, actually no, before they even spent that, it was announced that that game would be shutting down at the end of this year. And they said they have no regrets.
So he spent $130,000 on a game that he knew was going to shut down.
Yeah.
Yo, he's got to make his waifu look good, obviously. Right? The man's got his priorities straight, all right?
Okay, so let me find the quote here. He don't particularly have regrets, and they already started playing the sequel. So there's a sequel now, and I'm gonna play a trailer where I talk about this. So here's my conspiracy music. Okay, guys, if you watch X-Files, imagine the X-Files music playing right now. Okay, so Bandai Namco, they made this generic rhythm game, right, with like a waifu collector. And then they milked all the whales. They squeezed all the milk out of the whales, right? And then they're like, oh, we're shutting the game down. But here's the sequel. And the sequel's the exact same thing, but it's called Theater Days. So the Idol Master Million Live Theater Days.
And the reason they did this is so all those whales are going to spend all that amount of money they did on the first game on the second game as well.
Yeah, because they're all maxed out on the first game now. Because they probably spend $1 million. You got to be maxed out,
Yeah.
So now they got to migrate them over to the new game. Shut the old game down.
Genius, boys. Easy way to make money. But this is the reason we're going to get more microtransactions again. And microtransactions are going to get more and more hardcore to the point where you have to spend hundreds of thousands to get everything. Because I think Blizzard is making a financial mistake by not allowing people to spend $100,000. There are people out there that want to spend $100,000 on Overwatch. They want to. Like, they're eager. They got their credit card in their hand. They're like, fuck, I want to spend 100 grand. But they can't. They can only spend 5 grand. They can only spend 1 grand. And they get everything. So imagine in Overwatch, there's a $100 loot box or a $50 loot box, right? And it's got a whole different loot table. So you need to buy like 20 of those loot boxes to guarantee a legendary and a super loot box. Like, if they just had like 3 tiers of loot boxes, like $20 loot boxes, $50 loot boxes, $100 loot boxes, like, they can just make so much more money. And let's be real, I don't think people are gonna complain. I think Overwatch is a great game.
People will complain. You won't complain, but people would. All the 14-year-olds would bitch and moan about it until there's.
And guess what? They'll bitch and moan and they'll keep playing if they like.
Okay, sure, but you said they wouldn't complain, but that's wrong.
No, they would still play. They would still play. Okay. Look, the moment they'll stop playing is when if they make it pay to win to the degree where the new outfits actually impact gear, and then there's a balancing act in how much you can do. I don't think it's going to affect the game if they add more special cosmetics that cost crazy amounts of money. A small percentage might actually rage quit out of principle, but I think they'll make so much more money that it's a prudent financial decision for them to do it.
Yeah, sure, I agree. And here's the thing. When I was younger, when I first moved to Las Vegas, I wasn't that young. I was like 22, maybe 20. Yeah, 22. Okay. So I moved to Las Vegas, and there's all these casinos, right? And the casino industry, like the people who make the slot machines, the guys who run the casinos, in the industry parlance, they're known as gaming companies, right? Gaming. Gaming refers to casinos before, you know. And I was like, that's my word. Yeah, I'm a gamer. That's my word. You can't use that word.
That's your word.
You know, but the more I think about it, like the way especially mobile is going, it's exact same model. You have the same game, like in a casino, you have like the crazy sevens, right? And you can play with 25 cents per pull. And in the high stakes room across the hall, there's the exact same crazy sevens machine, but it's $1,000 per pull. And there's someone on that machine too. So it's the same thing with mobile gaming. It literally is just casino gaming, I think. Like there's no difference.
There's literally the 25 cents a pull versus $1,000 a pull.
Yeah.
The same exact machine, okay, which is insane. And he was pointing out in the chat, I could care less at $1,000 cosmetics. Yeah, I could honestly care less either. Like, if the guy wants to spend money, make himself look pretty. Like, it's no different than somebody buying a Louis Vuitton bag in real life. Like, yeah, he looks cooler than I do with his Louis Vuitton bag or something, right? And he spent $1,000 on that, like, or $2,000. Like, it doesn't impact the game at all. If the core gameplay is fun, I don't think it matters.
Hold up. If you saw someone walking around with $1,000 cosmetic in, like, let's say, Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft, would that guy look cool to you? He look like I would just be like, look at that idiot. That'd be my thought.
Think,
you know,
I probably think the same thing. But do you think the same thing about somebody who buys a Louis Vuitton bag?
No.
Why?
Because
it's literally a cosmetic.
You're right, but here's the thing. Usually it's girls walking around with Louis Vuitton bags. Right? I would say the minority of girls walking around with a Louis Vuitton bag paid for that bag themselves, right?
Okay, they got some guy to pay for.
Yeah, they got some, so that shows me that they have a high level.
So if I see
mental manipulation.
If I see a Mikote in Final Fantasy 14, which is a cat girl walking around with a $1,000 cosmetic, she probably got some sucker to pay for it for her too.
Okay, if she's an actual girl, maybe, but it's probably just a fat.
Regardless.
Okay, but if you're gonna spend $1,000 on someone, you got to at least get the Skype going. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna.
Whoa.
What do you want?
People give thousands to streamers all the time.
Yes, if you knew they were a streamer or whatever, and then you saw them, yeah, I would think.
So if you see a random person in Final Fantasy 14 or World of Warcraft with a $1,000 cosmetic, I mean, I don't see how you can point out to the real life person and say they're not an idiot or they're stupid, but you can't say the same. You won't say anything about the people in game.
Here's why. Because I think currently, and it's all a matter of what the numbers actually are. That could change my view, but I do believe that in Final Fantasy, most people buy for themselves currently in games. That could change in the future, but currently it's people buying things for themselves. Unless if they're like a known streamer and I see their avatar with like $10,000 stuff, then I might expect them to have
and I still don't buy your argument that most people buy Louis Vuitton bags for other people. I feel like people buy for themselves all the time.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that's true either. Girls will buy for themselves.
Okay, I mean, when we're talking Louis Vuitton actually is not that expensive, but that's like some of the stuff is like $100 for like a belt or something, right? But if you're talking about like $10,000 bags or like
a couple $1,000 Prada bag, okay, something like that.
Well, if we're gonna do the math, let's say the really expensive luxury stuff that you see on girls, I don't think it's the girl paying for.
Regardless, my point is whatever. It's a way to differentiate yourself, and I think your judgment for real life versus game is silly. I think you either have to say they're both stupid or they're both cool. Okay. And you make this distinction between real life and in game.
But it depends who's buying the money, man. I think that's a big.
But you will never know in real life. You have this weird assumption that you don't know if that's true either. Are you gonna ask them before you judge them? No, you're gonna judge them.
Okay, yeah.
You're not gonna ask them, so you instantly made these assumptions beforehand on one side and the other side.
Okay, but I think it's a fair assumption, don't you? Like I bought cosmetics. I buy them for myself. I spent like $5, whatever. I never really. Like unless it's a streamer or something, I don't really think people are buying cosmetics for other people on regular, especially high end ones like $1,000.
I think again we don't know if who's buying these high end luxury bags. Like I think people are buying for themselves.
So yeah,
I don't know.
I'm not saying it's like 99.1%, but I'd say the average woman you see with like really expensive jewelry, really expensive clothing and stuff, I think above 50% someone bought it for them.
All right, Pistol says I've only bought cosmetics for myself. All right,
but streamer. But has she bought herself like? Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But in gaming, it's pretty common for people to buy it for themselves.
Yeah, and people buy real life cosmetics and real life luxury products for themselves. So I don't know why you make this distinction. If you see a guy in Final Fantasy 14, a cat girl with $1,000.
Well, that's the thing. $1,000. I'm not saying cosmetic. So I'm pissed off. I could be wrong. But
500.
are you wearing like $10,000 like golden concealer? I don't think so, right?
No. All right. We have one confirmed girl in our chat. Pistol. Do most girls buy like Louis Vuitton? Of the girls that buy Louis Vuitton bags.
Of the girls with the highest caliber luxury goods. Okay, whether it's car, jewelry.
It doesn't have to be the highest end. It could be $1,000, $500.
$1,000.
Luxury goods.
Super luxury.
I'm not saying $100,000 cosmetics in Final Fantasy 14 either. I'm saying $500 to $1,000 cosmetics.
But $1,000 cosmetic in a game is like the equivalent of like a Ferrari in real life because it's max.
No, it's not.
It's a cap. How many $1,000 items are there in gaming?
None. There's none. But
there are some. There's not none.
Not really. No big MMORPG is $1,000 cosmetics. In fact, I don't think any does. Cosmetic wise, no. I think you're wrong. Anyway, the point is, I think they should have. They could add them, and they shouldn't stop at 1,000. Again, they can add 10,000, 100,000 as well.
Fine. Let's say they add 100,000.
All the people you see in a game that is 1,000, if they added up to $100,000 cosmetics, you see someone with $1,000 cosmetics, you're judging them as stupid or a fool. But you don't judge the woman as a fool. This is why I'm confused.
Hold up. I said I don't judge the woman if she got some sucker to pay for it, because then she has power. That's like a sign of like persuasion.
No. Okay. All right. We have Pistol says the ones I know get them themselves, including my own jewelry, purses, expensive coats, etc. So I think you have this weird judgment that all these girls only get guys. Look, there are girls that get guys to buy them stuff. Obviously, that happens, but I don't think it's the vast majority, or even close to. Majority.
I think we're disputing.
I think it's a minority.
I think the issue is the dollar amount we're talking about. Okay, so like, let's say $100,000 cosmetics. Okay, do you think girls are buying that for themselves? No, it's the rich billionaire.
Hold on, the 100,000. Now you're talking about you're in a whole different world. The people that buy $100,000 real life cosmetics are billionaires. Like that's not a big market.
No, but the billionaire's not buying it for himself. He's buying it for the woman. That's what I'm trying to say.
No one's talking $100,000 cosmetics. Nobody's discussed. That is a really niche, obscure part of the market. We're talking about Prada bags and Louis Vuitton bags.
Those aren't okay.
The price ranges on those products are between $500 to like $5,000. That's what we're talking about. This range of luxury products, not the extreme $1 million watches and stuff. That's bullshit. Nobody's talking about that. Okay. You bring it to the extreme.
I don't think.
I said $1,000 item in a game.
By the way, I think a lot of these luxury companies have the lower end lines, which people can buy that for themselves. That's fine. Like that happens. Yeah. I'm talking about the high end stuff.
No, high end is $1,000.
I don't count. I don't count that as high end.
All right, Mr. I really over here. Oh, whoever has $1,000 bag is a fucking peasant. He only thinks about $100,000 bag. Come on.
What?
Come on.
Hold up. I have a $900 monitor. Okay, well, $700 US.
Yeah.
And I think this is still consumer grade, right?
No, I would say
it is.
It's a high end.
It's high. It's not luxury. It's high end, but it's not luxury.
There are no luxury monitors. That's why there's no such thing as a luxury. You're
an
enthusiast grade monitor. You're an enthusiast.
I'm sure there are industry grade monitors that cost like 100,000 or something.
No, the luxury goods are not the same as industrial grade products. Luxury grade, it's just a higher end product. Anyway, my point is, now that we got the numbers to where I want them, 500 to 5,000 is I'm considering luxury. Now, if you see a girl in real life with a bag with a $1,000 bag that she bought herself,
okay,
are you gonna say she's stupid?
No.
Or a fool?
No.
Okay, but the Mikote cat girl in Final Fantasy that buys $1,000 cosmetic or $500 cosmetic is a fool?
Yes.
Why?
Okay, I'm gonna play the video again while we talk about this. All right. So if you spend $100,000 or 5,000, whatever number we're talking about, in this game, you're a fool.
Why? No. This game is $100,000. That's different.
Whatever 5,000, whatever 1,000.
Let's say $1,000.
Okay, if you spend $1,000 in, let's say, a short amount of time, okay.
Because why is it different than a girl buying a $1,000 purse in real life?
Because the article is in 1 month. They spent 150,000. If you spend 1,000 over 10 years, it's like coffee. Then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter either way.
You buy the purse over instantly. You go to the cash register. You buy the purse for $1,000. In the game, you buy it in one shot too. You buy them both in one shot.
Yeah, fine. Okay, one shot. Okay, good. So one shot item. Okay.
So why is one stupid and the other one not?
Okay, because
they both be stupid.
My evidence, my argument is in the visual. So if you just watch this, trailer of this, like these girls bouncing up and down, that is the evidence. I'm resting my case on this video. Okay.
No, this is nonsense. It's not. I don't know what you're talking about. This is either you have to either condemn both or just say, look, if the person derives their enjoyment out of the $500 luxury bag in Final Fantasy 14, or World of Warcraft or a special hat. Like who gives like?
Well, here's my argument. I think it's a non-argument we just said. If everything is equal, where if everyone's if everyone's pleasure is as good as everything else's pleasure.
So long as they're spending within their means. If the guy spends more money than he has, or he goes into debt buying a luxury product, yeah, he's an idiot in real life, and he's an idiot in game. But you see to make this distinction between people spending $500 or $1,000 on a Prada bag being okay.
Oh, well, here's another good.
People spending $1,000 on a game not being okay.
If this video is not enough evidence for you, that Louis Vuitton bag will only lose a certain number of its percent of value. It will maintain at least like 10, 20, 30%, 40% of its value. And this holds true for jewelry, gold, like Picasso paintings or whatever.
But it still loses value. So they're both depreciating assets.
Yeah, no, but one it depreciates to zero instantly. So here's the thing: if you ever regret your decision, you at least get half your. So it's at least twice as dumb to get the digital $1,000 because you get nothing for that.
No, you are thinking about your chargebacks, your refunds when you're buying this.
Well, you are. A lot of people who buy cars often sell their car before they buy the next one or trade it in. This is a very common thing. Same with GameStop and stuff. GameStop is a horrible way to do it. eBay is probably better. But a lot of people buy games, console games, and they sell it when they're done. And they get like 10, 20, 30, depending if it's a Nintendo game, you get half your money back. Even if you sell a game like 5, 6 years in the future, 10 years in the future.
Well, what if you're stretching. What if somebody goes to a $1,000 restaurant, a sushi restaurant? He eats some sushi off a naked girl's tits. Is this guy an idiot now? You can't refund that sushi. You already ate it.
Well, okay. I will answer you guys, but we are actually out of time for the podcast. It's got a little.
Is that guy an idiot versus the guy who spent $1,000 in game?
You will hear my answer, but you will have to hear it in the post game. So if you're watching on YouTube and this for some reason has entertained you, you got to catch it live if you want the full discussion next time. All right. So
we'll continue this conversation in the post game later for YouTube.
Later YouTube. Take it easy.